Transition Tuesday. I'm Jane. This is Joe. In this last year of school series we're doing, today we are talking about assisted autonomy. It's ironic because autonomy is about being independent, but I think when you are working with a young person on helping them learn independent living skills and transition into adult services, there has to be some assistance and guidance that happens, whether it's from family members like parents or caregivers, or from professionals who do that very thing in schools and in community agencies. There has to be some plan. And I guess for people who don't have a disability, particularly people who are verbal and have, mobility, these things happen organically. But for people like Joe, who have to depend on other people to do things, daily living things, there has to be some planning. So I suggest, if you are working with someone like Joe who needs that kind of assistance, and you're thinking about how can we assist this person's autonomy, my first suggestion, pick the easy things first. So Joe really likes watching TV, or at least he spends a lot of time doing that. So we decided that I would ask Joe if he would like to have some more time to himself during the day. So that was the first question I asked. Joe, would you like to have some more time to yourself during the day? Right now, the only time he really has to himself is when he's in his bed at night and he's sleeping, or we're all sleeping. Maybe he's awake a little bit and he's in his room by himself. And when he's in the shower, he has some alone time when he's in the shower. So I asked him, would you like to have some more alone time? The answer was yes. Would you like to spend more time in your room alone? Because when I stop and think about what guys Joe's age do if they live at home, most of them spend the majority of their time at home in their own private space. So he said yes. So I said, would you like us to bring the TV from downstairs, which gets very little use, up into your room? Now this is big because I do not like to have TVs in the bedroom. That's just my thing. But I was willing to make a change for Joe to have a way to practice more autonomy. So Joe wins. His sister, who was visiting, was very dismayed by this. And that's why I think, is that why you're smiling, Joe? Because your sister made a big deal out of it? Not really, funny. She wasn't mad. She lives on her own. She doesn't care really, but it was funny. And so, right? That was funny. And so Joe chose to have, so he has a TV in his room. So here are some other opportunities for Joe to practice assisted autonomy. He can choose the movies, because this TV is hooked up to a DVD player because we don't have, a streaming service for that TV. Maybe we will, but at this point in time, it's a DVD. And that's cool because Joe has like a gazillion movies. So Joe can start choosing which movies he wants to keep in his room. We brought in a big cabinet. He can put the movies in that cabinet. So that's one opportunity for Joe to have some autonomy. Do I want to spend more time in my room? Do you want the TV in there? What movies do you want? Some other things is now, because of where the TV is, the wall, the things that are on the wall are blocked. So now maybe Joe can have some help with redecorating around the TV in his room. I don't know if this is a priority for Joe. I don't know how much he cares about what's on the wall, but we are going to ask him those questions and find out. And it'll take a long time because you have to ask good questions, you have to wait for the answer. But I think what I hope is it will instill in Joe this idea that my room is my space, I have some independence. What do you think about what I'm saying so far? Do you like what I'm saying? Yes? Tell me with your voice or touch my hand. Do you like what I'm talking about right now? Yes? Or, I don't care. What is it? This is why I'm saying it's going to be a long process. I really want Joe to increase the or decrease the duration of time it takes him to answer a question. I believe the answer is in here. I know he knows what I'm asking him. Maybe it's the question. You noticed instead of saying no, I said I don't care. And maybe that wasn't a good choice on my part. Maybe it wasn't giving Joe the options for answering the question that were accurate, and so he didn't answer. These are all things that practice is going to help. The main thing that we need to do is give Joe the opportunity to answer the question. Remember, well, back up. Remember to ask the question, give him the opportunity to answer, and then maybe revise, based on how he answers. And hopefully, if he can decrease the amount of time that it takes him to answer a question, people besides mom would be more apt to ask him a question. Because right now they understand that they're going to have to wait a long time for the answer. And sometimes that is a deterrent to people asking him questions. So goal 1 is decrease the time that it takes him to answer. And goal 2 is encourage him to communicate in this communication partner style that we have going with other people besides dear old mom. What's next? We got the room. So the next thing that seems like a logical pick the easy thing first category is activities. And this also will help us promote Joe answering questions by people other than mom, because he does have a friend or 2 friends who kind of take him out and do stuff with him. And I want to encourage them to ask him more questions about what they're doing. And maybe they do. I'm not there, which is wonderful. It's assisting autonomy. So, things to do with friends, plan weekend or holiday events that maybe we do as a family. So Joe can assist in the planning because, he's part of it, and he can also make a choice to opt out, assisting autonomy. And then the other thing I thought about is, Joe is G-tube fed. He doesn't eat food like we do, like most people do. Most of his food is all of his food is in liquid form. So maybe we talk about what kinds of things you'd like to have in your morning smoothie, and we can go to the store and we can do budgeting and we can make choices about ingredients, and that's another thing I thought about that we could practice. Holidays are coming up, it's the perfect time. So it can be overwhelming to think about strategic planning in this way, so I made myself a little organizational tool. These are the areas where the strategic planning of assisted autonomy could happen. School, medical and doctors, recreation, and lifestyle. So if I look at this little graphic illustration, and my goal would be for us to work something out in each of those areas of Joe's life. So as I said here, what areas does Joe have? And then what choices can he make in these areas? So this way, it becomes a practice, and the practice becomes a habit. And then, hopefully, we achieve assisted autonomy that just happens organically, like it would if Joe didn't have a disability. Ta-da, right? So this also gives Joe the opportunity to practice with other people. How can anyone support Joe? Not just mom. So if I can demonstrate these things to them and be intentional about it, then again, we achieve assisted autonomy organically, and Joe gets closer to living the life he wants to, which is all part of independence and becoming an adult. So hopefully some of these ideas will assist you if you're working with a person who is a young adult trying to get their life together, particularly if they're nonverbal and they require a lot of support like Joe does. So hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you next time.